Okay, here's a bit of a walkthrough of the second activity where we're sort of looking here at some quotations and incidents, and we're thinking about certain themes or the big ideas or the wider world sort of tie in here. See you in hell, first quote. Just the danger of saying or doing things in the heat of the moment without thinking through the consequences, because obviously that's held against Andy. Number two life sentences back to back. A couple of things here. The miscarriage of justice. The law obviously sometimes gets the wrong person, and the severity of the American penal system. Okay, back to back. So 2 life sentences, one after the other. In New Zealand, we do this stuff consecutively. So you might get sentenced for a whole lot of different crimes. Not that I know from personal experience, but you get sentenced for those crimes and you serve those sentences consecutively, which means all at the same time. Bit of an easier way to do it. The next one, I'm up for rejection next week, okay, which is just levity, making fun and making light of something in order to cope. Also fairly cynical. Chubby fat ass. We got, the inmate's way of making fun in a terrible situation, and a little bit of the inhumanity or cruelty of the place. This is a small example of cruelty. We've got plenty of other much worse examples. You eat when we say you eat, you shit when we say you shit. Okay, that's institutionalization right there. Brooks is our banner example of institutionalization. That's where you get so used to a system's regulations, you can't break free and organize yourself. You're dependent completely on that institution to order your life. Number 5, no, we've done that one. Whole life blown away in the blink of an eye, just the finality of certain actions. The big old bull queers, okay, foulness, bestiality, the cruelty and humanity that man has towards man. This is also the same for number 9 and number 16. Okay, I want to go home, I don't belong here. Homesickness, the love of home and mother, it survives even into adulthood and called on in moments of stress. If I hear so much as a mouse fart the rest of the night, I swear by God and Sonny Jesus, you'll all visit the infirmary. We've got, okay, the guards are as inhumane and cruel as the criminals, sometimes even more so. His first night in the joint, Andy Dufresne cost me 2 packets of cigarettes. Okay, that's just respect built on experience, and that's the same for number 21 and 22. Brooks asked for the maggot Andy found in his porridge. This is one of those, a small example of how Frank Darabont, the director, misleads us. He gives us an idea that Brooks is going to eat that maggot, but we don't know everything just yet. And of course, it reveals that Jacob's pet crow is sitting in his pocket, and he's going to feed that maggot to his pet bird. There's a few examples of that misdirection or misinterpretation of events and scenes. Doesn't fucking matter what his name was. He's dead. It's just how the system hardens you. You get, you get immune to the suffering and the misery. Wonder if you might get me a rock hammer. Okay, just the need to occupy oneself in a boring situation take one's mind off it. These days, everyone has phones instead of rock hammers to occupy themselves in boring situations. I could see why some of the boys took him for snobby as a walk and a talk that just wasn't normal around here. Which, I mean, it's just his clothes, his walk, the way he held himself is all part of Andy's character. Number 14 is also like, number 15, sorry. We've got, Andy being the only inmate to say thanks to Brooks for the books. Also part of his character here. He's got a human decency. Every so often, Andy would turn up with fresh bruises. Once again, man's inhumanity and cruelty to man. Mr. Hadley, do you trust your wife? Misinterpretation of events and scenes. Also, Andy's naivety in the situation. The other prisoners cringed, thinking that Andy would be thrown off the roof, and came pretty close to that. I'd asked 3 beers apiece for each of my co-workers. Okay, this is a bit of an example of camaraderie. Okay, where any situation that binds people closely together, pushes folks close together, and results in their friendship.